Every generation chooses its heroes. Some are remembered for courage, some for sacrifice, some for discovery, leadership, endurance, or service. Others become heroes simply because they are famous, powerful, attractive, or victorious. But admiration is never neutral. What we praise reveals what we believe is valuable. The people we celebrate help shape our understanding of success, greatness, and the kind of life worth living. To call someone a hero is to say, "Look at this life. There is something here worth imitating." That is why choosing our heroes matters. Virtue can be difficult to understand in the abstract. We can define courage as the willingness to act despite fear. We can describe justice as giving others what they are due. We can speak about patience, discipline, loyalty, honesty, mercy, and sacrifice. But those words become clearer when we see them embodied in a human life. Courage becomes real when someone remains at his post while others flee. Mercy becomes visible when a person has the power to retaliate but chooses forgiveness. Justice takes human form when someone tells the truth even though the truth may cost him his position, his comfort, or the approval of the crowd. Fidelity becomes understandable when a promise is kept through years of difficulty. Virtue is not merely an idea, it is a way of acting, and heroes allow us to see what that action might look like. This is one reason human beings have always told stories about admirable lives. A child imitates a parent. An apprentice studies a master craftsman. A young athlete copies the habits of a champion. A new leader borrows the language and mannerisms of someone more experienced. We learn through imitation long before we understand that imitation is taking place. The people around us quietly teach us what deserves attention, what should be feared, what can be endured, and what kind of behavior earns respect. Stories extend that circle of influence beyond the people we know personally. Through history, we encounter men and women from other centuries, nations, vocations, and circumstances. Their lives enlarge our imagination. They show us that weakness can be confronted, that suffering can be endured, that fear does not have to control action, that one human being can remain faithful even when an entire culture begins moving in the opposite direction. A hero shows us that a particular form of goodness is possible. But fame does not make someone worthy of imitation. Neither does talent. Neither does victory. A person may possess extraordinary intelligence and use it dishonestly. He may be disciplined but directed toward a corrupt purpose. He may be courageous in battle and cruel in private life. He may speak brilliantly about justice while treating the people closest to him unjustly. He may command nations and still be unable to command his own appetites. Success answers one question. Did this person accomplish what he intended to accomplish? Virtue asks another. Was the purpose good? And what kind of person did he become while pursuing it? Those are not the same question. History is filled with capable people who pursued terrible ends. It is also filled with faithful people whose lives appeared unsuccessful to the world around them. Power can compel obedience. Charisma can attract followers. Wealth can purchase influence. None of them can prove that a person is good. This is where admiration can become dangerous. We often notice the visible achievement while ignoring the habits and motives beneath it. We see the victory, but not what was sacrificed to obtain it. We see the confidence, but not whether it is rooted in courage or vanity. We see the loyalty, but fail to ask whether that loyalty serves truth or merely protects the group. We see strength, but do not examine how that strength is used against the weak. When admiration becomes uncritical, a hero becomes an idol. An idol must be defended from every accusation. An idol's failures must be hidden, excused, or blamed on someone else. Truth becomes less important than protecting the image. But a genuine hero does not need to be perfect. A hero can be studied honestly. We can recognize that a person acted courageously without pretending that every decision he made was courageous. We can admire discipline while rejecting vanity. We can imitate perseverance without imitating cruelty. We can learn from a person's achievements and also learn from the destruction caused by his weaknesses. Mature admiration does not require blindness. It requires discernment. Our heroes should not provide us with a complete personality to copy. They provide examples of particular virtues practiced under particular circumstances. A soldier may teach courage. A physician may teach service. A parent may teach patience. A coach may teach perseverance. A judge may teach justice. A craftsman may teach care, precision, and pride in honest work. A person does not need to share our vocation in order to teach us something about character. But no vocation makes virtue automatic. A uniform does not create courage. A title does not create wisdom. Religious language does not create holiness. Marriage does not automatically create fidelity. Parenthood does not automatically create selflessness. Every calling presents opportunities for virtue and temptations against it. The circumstances change. The moral responsibility remains. Skill asks, can I do this? Character asks, should I do it? And if I should, how must it be done? This is why the moral compass matters more than the arena in which we happen to stand. One person may be called to govern, another to teach, another to build, heal, defend, raise children, care for the suffering, or perform work that remains almost entirely unseen. The world may consider one life important and another ordinary. But virtue is not measured by visibility. Truth does not change according to occupation. Honesty remains honesty in the classroom, the boardroom, the courtroom, and the home. Justice remains justice whether the decision affects a nation or a single vulnerable person. Fidelity remains fidelity whether the promise was made publicly before thousands or quietly before one spouse. The size of the audience does not determine the moral value of the action. Some of the most heroic decisions in a human life will never be recorded. A temptation resisted, a confession made, a difficult truth spoken with love, a child cared for through another sleepless night, a promise kept when breaking it would have been easier, an apology offered without excuse, an ordinary responsibility accepted again tomorrow. These actions may not create fame, they create character. For the Christian, the limits of human heroism must be especially clear. We can admire men and women who demonstrate courage, wisdom, perseverance, or sacrifice. We can study the saints, leaders, martyrs, parents, workers, and witnesses whose lives reveal something true about virtue. but we are not called to construct our entire lives in the image of any one of them. Every human model is incomplete. Every human being carries wounds, limitations, and the effects of sin. Even the saints are not the destination. The saints matter because their lives point beyond themselves. They demonstrate what can happen when a human life is reordered toward God. Jesus is not simply one more hero to place beside the others. He is the standard by which the others are judged. Our understanding of courage must be measured against His courage. Our understanding of authority against His service. Our understanding of justice against His truth. Our understanding of mercy against His forgiveness. Our understanding of sacrifice against the cross. When someone we admire contradicts that standard, we do not change the truth to protect our hero. We change our judgment of the hero. Faith does not require us to deny what was admirable in a flawed person. It requires us to place that admiration in its proper order. We take what is true, we reject what is false, and we allow Christ, not fame, power, ideology, appetite, or popular approval, to remain our moral compass. We still need heroes. We need people whose lives make courage easier to recognize. We need examples that remind us discipline is possible. Promises can be kept. Suffering can be endured. And truth can be defended. We need lives that challenge the smallness of our own expectations. But we must choose carefully. Study the lives of the people you admire. Do not ask only what they achieved. Ask what they loved. Ask what they served. Ask what their habits made them become. Ask where they were courageous and where they remained blind. Then turn the examination towards your own life. Who are you imitating? What qualities are you learning to admire? What compromises have the people you follow taught you to excuse? And what are the people around you learning from the example you are becoming? Admire what is good. Acknowledge what is flawed. Remain faithful to the truth. And let every worthy example direct you toward the one life that provides the perfect measure. Let us choose our heroes wisely. Let us pursue virtue. This is the Virtue Playbook.